And good afternoon, President Stevenson, Chair Kegel, and Deputy Consul General Mizuchi, distinguished guests, faculty, proud family members, and most importantly, Florida Polytechnic University class of 2026. Today marks the culmination of so many goals you set for yourself, ones supported by your family and friends, and goals that may have evolved through journey to today. But one thing always holds true for moments like this: we would not be here without the commitment to that very first goal. Today may feel differently for each of you, and as you take the important time to celebrate, I challenge you to remember the goal setting doesn't stop today. That may seem daunting, but each goal starts with a simple dream. I think we may be very similar in this moment as you saw this video. How many of you watched the recent Artemis 2 mission? I did. It was so inspiring, right? And those images of our planet Earth from the other side of the moon, incredible. I still vividly remember that I had a strong longing to fly in space when I watched the Apollo 11 lunar landing on our grainy TV set at the age of 5. The Apollo program inspired so many around the world, and because of this inspiration and desire to explore planted by the lunar landing, which I have cherished since then, I am here with you today. And I will always be grateful to NASA and the Apollo program for giving us the dream of space exploration. As a child in Japan, a country without a space program at that time, flying in space seemed to be limited to people from the United States and the former Soviet Union. At the moment, the dream seemed to be simply beyond my reach. Your next goal may feel like that right now. Time was rapidly changing then. It is changing at the speed of a rocket today. I was fortunate to become part of the domain of human space flight. Thanks to the US leadership and international collaboration, planets and stars aligned. In the moment, I was ready. The difference today is that you don't have to wait for the government to decide to collaborate. Taking the knowledge, connections, and inspirations you gathered at your time here, you can turn your dreams into clear goal and make them reality. Change is the only constant in the universe. The major shifts we are seeing in how we live and experience our lives and how we interact with each other are evolving at an amazing speed. To not be overcome by change and have an impact on it, rather than being affected by it, one must demonstrate flexibility and adaptability. Make change your ally. I learned this lesson about the International Space Station, where I gained a first-hand appreciation of the decision-making risks inherent in the practice of blindly adhering to precedent. While there's always one person in command of the International Space Station, at any given day, so many occasions arise where you need to take on the role of a leader or an active follower in your work on the ISS. If you have the highest situational awareness, you take control of the situation as a leader. And if you don't, you look for the best way to contribute in the role of an active follower so that you can help empower the leader to get the job done. The team where members can serve either as a situational leader or an active follower is a high-performing team. As an ISS commander, I once attempted to steer operational priorities based on examples drawn from my past space flights. However, I was taught a profound lesson. What constitutes the best course of action must be determined daily in response to ever-changing circumstances, and precedent should serve only as a final, secondary consideration. I was focused on efficiency of the mission. Following rules and delivering outcome is who I am. I care deeply about my crew, my team, and how they work. But sometimes those two core features of my ethos do not work in parallel. Any leader needs to understand themselves as well as their team, because the leader is only one part of the whole picture. This experience I'm telling you about took place when I didn't have the holistic view of my team. I was leading from the front using my past experience with my previous crews, not realizing the difference in preference of my new crewmates about how daily routines on the ISS should be directed in their view, which has a significant impact on the morale of the crew and our operational efficiency. Now, good news is about my experience is that the strong team will tell you when you're about to take a wrong step. This story is not about a life and death crisis moment, but rather a critical piece of equipment on the ISS. It had to do with a plumbing issue. We had 2 toilets on the ISS back in those days, and when one of them breaks down, which is more important, do you think? Fixing a broken space toilet near your living quarters, or conducting a time-critical science experiment? So I guess wrong, because I simply thought the preference of my new crew would be the same as that of my previous crews. The preference of my new crew was fixing the toilet, while I thought their priority would be the scientific experiment. Anyway, it all worked out in the end, and we were able to carry on. But I learned that lesson. It stayed with me. Never assume anything simply based on the precedence, since your environment is constantly changing. Let me share with you my makers or markers for success. Do not simply dream, but set specific goals to make it come true. The steps that got you here today may have been laid out, which courses to take, what every semester's syllabus was going to look like, some tactics you learned yourself through failure, such as do not stay out too late the night before a big test. Each step along the way was designed to challenge you, but you also set out to challenge yourself. You must never stop doing this. Now on your own, to continue on the path towards your goal. And while you keep that goal in sight, you should share your achievements and setbacks with your friends and family, just as you have done with this milestone. They want to support and invest in you and be there for you as the road gets hard or as the direction changes altogether. Pay attention to what your support team is trying to tell you. Listen attentively to the problems they see and their advice. Based on their input, you must offer solutions. From now on, you will be interacting and working with so many new teams and new teammates. Demonstrate a strong sense of personal responsibility. Admitting your mistakes is a great start. Never shift the blame to others, because the entire team's success is what matters in the end. Do not shy away from providing negative yet respectful feedback to your teammates. The importance is to conduct such negative feedback in a constructive format that moves you and your teammate forward. Choosing to do this in a private manner allows for that important introspection, while giving you the opportunity to share with your team in a collaborative way. And always remember to express your gratitude. We must intend to live life as a team. Every step, whether up or down, must be done together. Every win and loss must be felt together. Trust gained through effective communication will help your team achieve the best outcome in this ever-changing environment. In the end, you are the judge of your success and accomplishments. The goal must be dreamed by you, executed by you, for you to fully appreciate your achievement. Mere reactions from others to your achievement should not influence your satisfaction. If you are achieving only for expected reactions, the dream was never properly planted to begin with. And failure is an option. It is always psychologically tough to overcome experiencing failure. But remember, please remember, you can grow effectively when you struggle to move forward by fully utilizing the lessons you learned after a failure. Again, as an engineer, I know failure is the mother of success. The path should never be, you must not fail, but rather reach your goal, including all milestones and setbacks. Even in rocket development, it can be faster and cheaper to iterate, incorporating many failures, rather than take a long and more costly path to avoid any failure. Don't be afraid of opportunities that are full of changes and challenges. This is how you got here today. That dream sparked by something, to be the first college graduate in a family, a continuation of another goal achieved, to select a path divergent from your own norms. All these reasons may have gotten you to this glorious moment. So why fear the next change or challenge? As a person born and raised in Japan, the hardest thing in my astronaut training at NASA was having to accomplish everything in English, especially for the dynamic and critical operation during the launch and landing of the space shuttle. During simulations, I asked my astronaut colleagues and instructors to allow me to record all the voice communications on a cassette tape recorder. Imagine there was a whole world without iPhone back in those days. And after that, I would listen to the recordings repeatedly until I comfortably understand what everyone was saying in the cockpit of the space shuttle. Once you acquire a technique to learn, you can apply this to other fields. In Soyuz operation, the procedures and communication with the mission controller in Moscow are all in Russian language. But this time, it was much easier for me to master the Russian language, as I was able to apply the same method I had used for English. This method may not have been the best way, but with a clear goal in mind of being able to use these foreign languages in space operationally, I was able to find a path to get there. Even when faced with the various formidable challenges, if you clearly set your sights on a goal and strive towards it, the goal will, much like a lighthouse, illuminate the path to its achievement. That path may not be a straight line leading directly to your objective. Indeed, it may be winding and circuitous and sometimes steep, very steep. Yet it will undoubtedly guide you there. I spent a combined of 504 days in space. I launched from this beautiful state of Florida 4 times on the space shuttle in the SpaceX Crew Dragon, and once from Kazakhstan on a Soyuz spacecraft. I traveled around the home planet more than 8,000 times. Astronauts go through special training to acquire expeditionary skills, such as with NOLS, the National Outdoor Leadership School, focusing on skills in self-care, leadership and followership, and team communication in a harsh environment. As an astronaut, so much is planned for us when we wake up, when we go to sleep, when we work out, where everything is stored, what steps we must follow, in what order. If things go wrong, there's a section of instructions just for that. But all that accomplishment, in the end, is only possible due to teamwork, because everybody is working together for the common goal and mission. The astronaut often receives all the attention and recognition, but we couldn't do our work without the team. Today, you are the astronaut. We hold this celebration for you, but take a moment to look back at your team, your professors and faculty staff who inspired you, taught you how it is done, the mentors who guided you, and of course, your family. My message to you is, I want you to never forget that each and every one of you possesses unique and remarkable abilities, talents that are second to none. Many of you may not yet have realized the full extent of the capabilities you hold within. I hope you will take the time to discover who you are, clearly identify where your true interests lie, believe in your own strength, and find joy and fulfillment in every single moment as you work towards your goals. Living in space for 6 months is tough for both physiologically and psychologically. No shower for 6 months. All of our activities on board the station are monitored on the ground, and no playing baseball. The water supply is limited, and we recycle our urine and sweat for potable water. In other words, in space we turn yesterday's coffee into tomorrow's coffee. No sushi for 6 months is a tough one for me. You can apply the same astronaut team building lessons learned on orbit to our daily life here on the planet. The difference is that if something frustrates you on the ground, you may walk away from it or distance yourself. But in a tiny spacecraft, we have no choice but to work through our conflict in a meaningful and productive, non-destructive way to come out stronger in the end. Earth is a spaceship. Each one of you is an essential member of the crew. The friends you made at FPU will be there for you forever to share their best advice and expertise, but only if you stay connected. Life needs to be a balance of professional commitment, leisure, sports, and quality time with your friends and family. It is imperative that you communicate well with the other crew members of Spaceship Earth. Tolerance, mutual respect, and being able to see things from a different perspective will help achieve the team goal for a better future. Value others for their strength, team up, and never hesitate to ask for help when you need it. Good luck with your future endeavors. Congratulations, Florida Polytechnic University, class of 2026. The universe awaits. Thank you very much.